Hello, everybody. Good morning. Okay, so I am clearly coming to you from a slightly different place today. Normally, I do all my coaching work on Wednesdays, and I have the day to really focus on that. But today, so as some of you may know, I don't talk about loads, but I am a corporate accountant, and today is, well, no, tomorrow is our financial year end. So it's a big day in the accounting world. So I am actually at work today in the office. So I have snuck outside for a little break with you guys. And actually, I'm just sat on the ground behind the bench because I can shelter from the wind a bit more. So hopefully you can hear me okay. If you are watching this live at any point and you can't hear because of the wind, please just let me know and I'll try and move. But I did test it and this seemed to be the best setup. So here we are, sat on the ground. um, right. So it's been a big week. I honestly still don't have words to really talk about the Roe v. Wade decision in the States. So although that seems like a thing that I should probably come on and talk about, I'm not sure I can. I can't lead through this in a great way at this point. When I say Roe v. Wade, that's the abortion case, the national law getting overturned and leaving it up to the states to decide whether abortions are legal or not, and taking away bodily autonomy from millions of women. And honestly, there's plenty of things that America does that makes me embarrassed to be American, but this is the worst. And when combined with all of the shit show gun stuff going down at the same time, it's big and it's bad and there's a lot going on. I guess what I would say actually on that front, I said I wasn't going to talk about it and here I am talking about it. What I will say on that front is it is big stuff. And honestly, I tried to avoid it for the first few days. I was just kind of in denial, didn't read any of the news, tried not to read social media about it. And my body knew better. I could feel this in me rising up, partially with some other stuff, but also I knew it was from avoidance of this, because when we have big unprocessed emotions, our body doesn't let us get away with it for long. We can run, but we can't hide. And so my approach now is I am taking it in bit by bit, in small doses, because that's all my nervous system can handle. I can't, if I let the whole enormity of it wash over me all at once, it's just too much. So it's okay to take it bit by bit in what you can handle. The idea of having our bodily autonomy just ripped away from us and being told that, other people get to make these decisions. Sometimes it's literally like a life and death decision. Sometimes a lot of time it's more nuanced than that. But in any case, we're having massive choice taken away from us. And to me, this is not a pro-life discussion like some people want to frame it. This is a war on women. And I know that there are women who feel torn about this. I am not saying that it's just men doing this to us. This is part of that patriarchal system. And I know that for me, this isn't a should you have an abortion or not discussion, because that is very individual and personal. But that's the point. It should be individual and personal. And I know people will feel different ways about this, but yeah, to me it's big and scary. And like I said, I've been dealing with it in drip feeds, letting it little bit by little bit sink in. So permission to do the same if that's how it feels to you. I'm going to move on from that bit. The other bit so I said last week, I think, that I was going to do a bit of dating conversation this week. I'm not going to go into it tons. I think there's so much I want to say about it at when the time's right, because it's been such a fascinating journey how long have I been doing this now? 6 weeks I've been in the dating game, something like that. But the couple bits that I will say at this point, first of all, it's fascinating, utterly fascinating. I'm learning so much, but I think some of the coolest parts is that I absolutely have gone into this. I've my my ex moved out about 2.5 years ago. I was intentionally single-ish. There was one guy, I don't know how to classify him. He's a very important guy. It wasn't just a little fling, but anyway, I don't need to go into all of that. I've been mostly single-ish for 2.5 years, but I really was doing that to really get a strong foundation of myself before I went to bring other people into the equation. And for me, that has absolutely been crucial and so important. And I will say, though, that this has made a huge difference in how my dating life is going. But this doesn't just apply if you're dating. It certainly does. And I know that there are some single moms watching this. And I really, really want to give you for me, doing this inner work has been massive. But I will say it applies even if you are in a relationship, a marriage, long-term, etc. Doing that personal work on yourself is such a strong foundation for doing the intimacy work in your relationship, and it can change the entire dynamic. But one of the cool things that I've noticed is, and this is actually wider than just dating, but it has specifically shown up in dating as well as other places, that who I am and who I have been working on becoming and really changing, because it's not that through all of this work, I'm not just changing surface level stuff. I am really working on deep down core, best version of me. And that is getting reflected back to me now. And that is the coolest thing in the whole damn world. So people are just noticing that this difference, and it's people who didn't know me before, so they don't notice the change. They are just reflecting back to me how I am. Somebody told me, you have this depth and this strength and this solidness that I've never come across before. And I was like, oh my God, that's the best thing ever to hear. Because I spend a lot of time working on getting grounded in who I am, and not just rolling around in the waves. I obviously have a lot of high energy. It's not like I am just this serious person all the time. But I have this strength and solidness inside of me, and to hear somebody say that was really cool. And to hear people describe me as this is going to sound so stupid, you guys, but to hear people describe me as kind and thoughtful and sensitive, those aren't words that I would have necessarily used to describe myself, or that I think other people would have used to describe me for my entire life. But it's something I've been working really hard at, and it's cool to have that recognized, I guess. But it is deeper than that. It is that sense of just people understand that I know who the fuck I am, and that is coming across in how I'm showing up, and it's amazing. Another part that I've noticed on the dating front, I'm going to try and keep an eye on time because I've got really good questions to get to today. But another really cool part that I've noticed is, it's the best and the worst part about committing to living as your truest self, living as your most authentic self, your highest self, is that's all you can do then. You can't be anybody else but you. And the reason I say it's the best and worst part is because it's I don't have to waste energy on trying to be somebody else, on trying to do different things, on figuring out what's he gonna like, what's he not gonna like, how would he, what does he want to hear, etc. I don't have to waste any time or energy on that. The question is, who am I, and what do I want, and what do I want to do and be and say? That's all I have to spend my energy on. And that's freaking awesome. There's nothing else I could do. The worst part about it, though, is that then that's all I can do. And I'm not going to lie. There have been times in this where I wish I could do something differently. This is not what, it's not quite ticking the boxes for him, or he's choosing between me and somebody else, and I really want to be let me do this thing to make you choose me. If I can just convince you that I'm the one for you, and pick me, wouldn't that be great? Because I would end up with my happy ending. But no is the answer. That's not how this is going. That's not how I am doing this. It's not how I am showing up. And although I want to do that sometimes, it's not going to work, because ultimately it's not going to be the right decision, is it? If I try and do something to be what he wants to make him pick me, that's not going to be true to myself, and that is going to be a very temporary solution, and it's going to lead to, upsetness, burnout within the relationship. It's not going to be true, authentic connection, which is what I'm going for. So that's why I say it's the best and worst part about this, is that's all you can do. It's all you can be, is just keep focusing on you. And sometimes that's frustrating to hear, even to myself, but sometimes, most of the time, it's also very, very reassuring and comforting that, like, okay, my job here is to keep being me and keep doing my work and keep living my truest self and building my best life, and trust that that is going to bring in my exactly man at the right time, and all I can do is keep doing me. So yeah, I think that's all I'm going to do for like dating update for today. I will save more for later. If you do have specific questions, let me know, because it's been fascinating. I felt like there was one other thing I was going to say, but I can't remember what it was. So no, I will leave it there, because I got some really good questions today that I want to make sure I get to. So let's start with, there was actually two of them that were pretty similar. So I'm going to cover these two together. So one of them was phrased as kind of, what do you do at your lowest to help you cope? And the other one was phrased as more like, what do you do? Sorry, sandwich van going by. It's not an ice cream van, I don't think. And the other one was phrased as kind of, what do you do when you're in a funk and, just feeling, but you need to parent 24/7? And so although they're slightly different questions, to me, they have a very similar kind of answer. So I'm going to address them both together. And the answer is, you start small. My answer is always baby steps. And I think I talked about this last week too. I probably will end up repeating myself quite a lot in these things, because I have, such strong core beliefs with all of it. But the answers are to start small and to do what you can and to focus on the little things. Now, to be more specific about that, I definitely don't think so. I definitely still get in funks, and parenting when you are in a funk, or parenting when you're low, or living life when you are low, it doesn't just have to be parenting by any means, but kids are like generally the most constant source of your energy sucking. Like if you're married but don't have kids, obviously your partner is there and a big factor in your life, but they generally can fend for themselves a little bit. It's not like kids where it's like this constant, like, I need you. So kids is different. And I definitely get these times where I'm just like, oh, I just can't life. I can't adult. I can't life. I just, ugh. And I am not a fan of sometimes when people say, you just make the choice. It's all about choice. You can choose how you live your life. You can choose how you feel. You can choose to change this. Yes, but that is a complete oversimplification. When I talk about like mindset work, I do not mean that if you are in this place of like, this is all too hard and I'm feeling in a funk, you can just be like, I choose to feel better now. Ta-da! Magically feel better. I really, really wish it did work that way, but it doesn't. At least if you have found a way for that to work, please let me know, and I want to sign up with you. But in my experience, it's not that kind of choice. The choice that you can make, though, and choice does play a huge part in this, because the choices that you make are over and over and over again to show up for yourself and to make the little changes. And eventually, those little changes add up to big ones. And this can be just moving yourself up to like the next notch of, one thing that I'm not super close with and haven't worked super close with, but there is an energy scale, and it talks about like, I probably shouldn't even name them because I'll get them wrong, but you can start with like these really, really low emotions and go all the way up to like super, super freaking high emotions, and it's got like numerical values attached to it. But you can think about it like you're not trying to move yourself from down here in the scale to right up top. Like, that ain't happening. Nobody's system can handle that. It's just not how it works. But what you do is you try and move up like notch by notch by notch. It's like climbing a ladder. You don't jump from the bottom to the top, do you? You wouldn't need the ladder if that was the case. But you go up notch by notch. And so when it comes to being in a funk, being in a really low place in life, etc., you try and move one bit by one bit. And I really, really think this is a combination of short and long-term things. Oh, the wind is blowing. Let's try and go this way a bit more. Short and long-term things that add up to big changes. So short-term things, I really think, if you follow my stuff, I talk a lot about like finding your feel-goods, following the feel-goods, upping your feel-good factor. And that can be little things like putting your pajamas in the dryer before you put them on. Maybe that's a better winter one, not so good in summer. It can be putting on your nice silky pajamas and feeling the silk on your body. It can be having, your favorite cup of tea and really sitting and savoring it. It can be petting your cat, petting your dog, giving somebody a hug. It can be all of these little things. It can, wherever. It can be lighting. Oh, I light so many candles these days. I used to really be like, oh, don't spend money on nice candles for me. I don't need those. And now I'm like totally hooked. Peak District Candle, by the way, my favorite candle makers. She's got amazing scents. But so in the little sense, it's about where can you bring extra feel good into your day, into your life? Where can you bring that extra feeling of pleasure? Because pleasure soothes your nervous system in a way that kind of nothing else does. It tells your body, this is okay. It tells your body, I am safe right now. And that is the foundation of everything you need. You can't be doing like great high level stuff if you don't feel safe and supported. So the first steps for all of this are figuring out what can you do to make yourself feel more safe, supported, and bring pleasure into your system. And then you build those in regularly, more and more and more. And it sounds so little, I know, but this stuff adds up to big stuff. So if you are, and especially if you're really, really in a funk, start there. Just figure out, where can I add a little bit more feel good into my day, and try and do that regularly. Then you build in the bigger picture stuff. So then it's about making sure you've got the right support network in place. And a network is not just one person. Support network is a network. So it's looking at your support network. It's looking at a therapist, a coach, a doctor, friends, family, safe people you can talk to, and building that in. And in the longer term stuff, this is where for me, coaching has been a total game changer, because I can then, once all of those things are in place and my system feels safe and supported and taken care of and pleasured, then I can start to dig into the deeper stuff. Then I can really look at what are these limiting beliefs that are locked way down inside me? What are some of the traumatic events from my past that are trapped inside me? What are some of the blockages that have me stuck from reaching my highest self? I can start to unpick and thaw out some of those things and unblock, and I can do all that from this safer, secure place. And that is going to lead me to the longer term version of, it's what's gotten me to where I am now, and it's what's going to keep carrying me through. But that stuff isn't as effective or even possible if your body's in trauma at the moment. We need to bring it down first before you can do other stuff. So I hope that kind of answers the question of what do you do when you're in a funk or your low point. It starts small. Bring in feel good wherever you can. Find what feels good and follow that. It might not make any sense to you at all. You might be like, what? Why on earth do I want to do that thing? That doesn't make sense. But if it feels good to you, do it. Keep following the feel good. Give yourself permission to take the time for yourself. So put yourself first, because you are not going to get out of your funk by pleasing everybody else, by caring for everybody else and not caring for yourself. That is never going to get you out of your funk. Don't get me wrong, helping other people can feel good, but most of us are stuck in this people pleaser loop where we are putting everybody else before ourselves and thinking, once all of their needs are taken care of, then I will take care of mine. Backwards, totally backwards. Take care of your needs first, top up your tank, and then you will have more overflow to give to other people. So permission to take time for yourself and focus on it that way. I hope that helps. I'm running out of time, but I want to get to the second question. The third question, but second one I'm going to cover. If you've got any questions on that, though, let me know in the comments or send me a message and we can talk about it more. But that's where I'd start. Okay, then the other one I want to talk about, and I will try and cover it, is the question was from a co-parent, so somebody who is relatively recently separated and is co-parenting with a young child, and asked, how do you cope with it? What do you do when you can see your co-parent it paused for a minute. So how do you deal with it when you can see your co-parent doing things that are going to disappoint your child? Do you let them do it? Do you talk about it? What do you do? Co-parenting is tough. Let me just start with that. This is really, really hard. And this is one that I have had to work really hard at, and I know a lot of co-parents do. But my honest short answer is you let it go. It's not what you want to hear. I know. But that is my shortest answer to it, is you can only control you and your actions and your reactions to things, and you cannot control your co-parent. And trying to control what your co-parent does, says, shows up, doesn't show up, is a complete and utter waste of your energy. It's not going to change your co-parent. All it's going to do is suck your energy and bring you down. And your energy can be much, much better used on what you can control, which is loving your child to the best of your ability in your house. When she is with you, that's the part where you get to control what you do. So it can be really, really hard. As parents, we often want to protect our kids from all the hurt in the world. I definitely know that there's times I want to wrap up my kids in bubble wrap and keep them safe physically and emotionally. But that's not setting them up for the best in the world, is it? Like, what we want for them to do is to learn how we want them to learn how to manage their emotions with our help. We want them to feel loved and supported. I'm not saying like, go sit over there and figure this out on your own, but we want to teach them emotional skills here. And part of that is that things will disappoint them. Things will make them sad. And it's not our job to stop those things happening. It's our job to help them through it and to love them as best as we can and do it our way. So in the case where you can see that your co-parent is going to do something that's going to upset the kid, or is going to do something, that isn't the way you would do it, we can't control that. And I don't think it's ever useful that you don't want to talk down about your co-parent to the kid, because that's not fair either. And you wouldn't want your co-parent doing that about you. But there is nothing else you can do. And spending the energy on it is, just like I said, a waste of energy. So if it's something where you can see it coming, maybe you can have some extra preparedness in your back pocket, something that your kid is going to enjoy, something that you can do to help fill them up again. But I don't say that in a distracting kind of way either. You don't want to be like, oh, I know that your dad let you down in this way, but look over here at this shiny thing, yay! You want to give them a space to feel sad, and it's, to recognize that, it's okay. I understand that you're sad that daddy didn't show up when he said he was going to. I understand that that's, tell me how that feels to you, and give them, and if they just want to sit and cry and they're upset, give them that safe place. It's not like, oh, don't be upset about that. It's okay, because it's more of the, I know it really is hard when people don't show up for us, isn't it? It's okay, sweetie, come here. I've got you. And you can just let them express those emotions. And then it's maybe a, and what do you think could make you feel better? What should we do next? And then maybe it's a, I have this extra game. Do you want to try this new game maybe? But it's about letting them express those emotions and showing that they can get through hard things. They don't need protecting from the hard feelings. They need to be taught how to get through them. Because us as grown-ups, we have hard things happen to us, and nobody stops it from happening to us, but we've got to be able to get through it. Not always on our own, but with support. Like I said, it's about the support network. But we need to be able to know that it's okay to go to people for support, that it's okay to do that. And I think this applies, just generally with your co-parent, is trying to control what happens at their house or what they say or do is never going to be the best use of your energy. It's not going to be effective. It's going to hurt your communication with your co-parent. And you can use that energy for so much more if you turn it in towards yourself instead. Is there anything else I want to say on that? I don't think so. I think it's mostly what I want to say about it. Again, leave a comment, ask questions, send me a message if you want to. But co-parenting is tough, and stuff like this is going to keep coming up. And I have to tell myself over and over again, focus on what I can control and let go of what I can't. I had that Post-it note up when we split up 2.5 years ago, and it was on my cupboard for months, and although the Post-it note itself is gone, it is ingrained in my head now, and I just use that over and over and over. So on that front, really, really good questions this week, guys. I'm so glad I remembered to ask you, unlike last week. If you've got any more, let me know for next week. I will quickly wrap this up because I do have to actually go back to work. I will wrap this up by saying my mastermind starts on Friday, guys. I know I haven't been sharing about it tons and tons, but I have a group mastermind that starts on Friday. It runs for the entire month of July. It is permission to show up as yourself. It is permission to love yourself, to trust yourself. It is permission to come in and build that support network. So you get to ask me coaching questions. There's one other woman signed up already, so you'll definitely have one other person, and however many more sign up, it's up to 5. I'm capping it at 5, and you get to hear the questions they ask and get the answers I give them and support each other as well as get from me. So it's an amazing, amazing way. It's only 144 pounds for the month, which it's such good support for that. You can upgrade for 200 pounds in total. You can get a 1-to-1 session with me as well as the month of coaching. So the link for that is in my bio, or let me know and I can send you the link, but that starts on Friday. The second way you can work with me right now is I'm doing a mini 1-to-1 package of 3 1-to-1 sessions. Oh, that's a very loud truck. A mini 1-to-1 package of 3 1-to-1 sessions that can be used anytime within 2 months. So my favorite way of doing coaching is weekly, but if you want to spread it out and be every 2 weeks, whatever, you've got 2 months to use these 3 sessions. And that's a really good way to start diving into some of these personal things that you want to look at. Although I think the longer term change happens over a longer term, 3 weeks, the 3 sessions is definitely enough time to really start digging in and see some big differences happening. So that's a great way to do it. That is 444 pounds. Or if you want to add in the month mastermind as well, if you sign up by this Friday for 555 pounds, you get the 1-to-1 sessions and you get the mastermind. Amazing deal. And then, of course, there's my big bang all-inclusive package, which I know I've been talking about loads, but it's the 3 months of 1-to-1 coaching with me. I'm now turned into like this active TV salesperson. I'm so excited about this. It's 3 months of 1-to-1 coaching with me. You get Voxer support. You get any programs that I put out during that time. You get the group mastermind. You get really in-depth, like nice long chunk of time to go into stuff together. And that's 2,000 pounds. Also, if you guys are in America, the exchange rate is basically 1-to-1 these days, which is great for you. Absolutely shit for spending the pound. But so all of those prices are like basically the same in dollars. Not exactly, but not far off. So if you're American, this is a fantastic time to sign up because I'm charging GBP prices. That's it. If you've got any questions about any of those, let me know. And we can go, because I know I'm doing these weekly sessions and they are like anonymous and general coaching questions, and I am thrilled. So please, please, please keep them coming. But if you're like, oh, this is just scratching the tiny little surface, I want to go in deeper, that's what this is for. Like, we can only do so much in these calls, but we can do so much more when we go in 1-to-1 or in the mastermind. So I will be back next Wednesday at 10 o'clock. I will put the question up on Tuesday on my stories, assuming stories is working, because today it was just bizarre. But I'll put the question up on Tuesday to your prompt to ask me questions. If you want to send me anything in a message before that, you can totally do that too, and I will save it to next week. And then I'll be back here at 10 o'clock next Wednesday. So leave comments. Let me know what you think. Ask any questions. I love, love, love these conversations. And yeah, I'm going to go do some accounting now.